Finding anything online these days feels, well, instant, right? It's so natural. But the story of how we got here, the story of search itself, is really the story of how our entire digital world was built. This is a story that's been 25 years in the making, a saga of chaos, of cleverness, and a relentless hunt for the perfect answer. So let's dive in. So before Google, you got to understand the internet was basically the Wild West. It was this massive frontier, a gigantic library with millions of books, but no card catalog at all. Websites were just sort of floating out there in the digital ether. Finding what you needed was pure luck. You'd follow these long chains of links, just hoping you might stumble on the right thing. And right in the middle of all that mess, a couple of students at Stanford came up with this incredibly powerful new philosophy. And it wasn't just about the tech. It was a totally new way of thinking about how value and authority should even work online. And yeah, it was going to change everything. And this was the big question they asked. The one idea at the heart of it all. What if every single link from one website to another could be counted as a vote of confidence? It's such a simple question, right? But it became the foundation for an algorithm, for a company, and for an empire that would completely redefine how we get information. All right, so let's dig into that. How did this one simple philosophy manage to bring order to that completely chaotic, unsearchable frontier? This is really where the magic starts. They called it PageRank. And you have to get this. It wasn't just some clever code. It was a philosophy. The core idea was that the web itself should get to decide what's important. See, older search engines just counted how many times a keyword appeared on a page. PageRank let the collective wisdom of the entire internet, through all those links, determine who had authority. It was basically a digital democracy. And it worked like a charm. Of course, anytime there's a new system, what's the first thing people do? They try to break it. Or, game it. And that kicked off this massive digital gold rush. It was an era where the rules were still being written, and if you were clever enough, and maybe a little sneaky, you could make a fortune. And oh man, the early 2000s were just wild. Marketers found all these crazy loopholes to trick the PageRank system. They'd stuff web pages with invisible keywords, literally white text on a white background. They'd buy thousands of cheap spammy links and build these huge networks of fake blogs, all just to create the illusion of authority. It was pure chaos, but for a while, it was incredibly profitable. And this wasn't just happening in some digital vacuum. It had huge real-world consequences. While these online marketers were building empires from their basements, entire industries started to crumble. Remember the Yellow Pages, that giant book on your doorstep? Its revenue just collapsed. Local travel agencies suddenly couldn't compete. This gold rush had a cost, and a lot of legitimate businesses were the ones paying the price. But after a decade of playing this cat and mouse game, Google decided enough was enough. The party was officially over. A reckoning was coming. And they didn't just tap on the door. They brought the hammer down. First, Panda showed up in 2011, and it just wiped out sites that were full of thin, low-quality junk. A year later, Penguin declared all-out war on all those fake backlinks, and overnight, rankings just plummeted. And then came Hummingbird, which changed the game in a completely different way. And this right here, this is the turning point. This is where Google stopped being a simple matching machine and started thinking. Its fight against all that spam actually forced it to get a whole lot smarter. Okay, so this is the crucial shift. For the longest time, search was pretty dumb. If you typed car repair shop, it would just look for pages that had those exact words. But with Hummingbird, Google started to understand intent. It realized that if you searched for something like, "Why is my car making a weird noise?" you were probably looking for a car repair shop. It was a massive leap forward. And then came the real AI. RankBrain in 2015 was a total game changer. You can think of it like Google's gut feeling. It started learning directly from billions of searches to figure out what we really wanted. Then BERT came along and gave Google the ability to understand all the little nuances of how we actually talk, the prepositions, the context, all the messy stuff. It finally got how humans speak. So as Google got smarter and smarter, something else started to happen. It was a really quiet shift, but it was absolutely monumental. Google stopped being just a gateway, a list of blue links to other places, and it started becoming the destination itself. I mean, think about your own searches, right? You ask for the weather, and boom, the forecast is right there. You ask for a flight time, the answer is right at the top. You look up a definition, and you never have to click a link. These are zero-click searches. With things like featured snippets and knowledge panels, Google was giving you the answer directly, so you never had to leave. Now, for us as users, this is great, right? Super convenient. But for the people who actually create the content, oh, it was devastating. Entire business models that were built on getting traffic from Google just fell apart. I mean, why would you click on a news article if Google gives you the headline and a little summary right there on the results page? The very ecosystem that Google had created was now being completely upended by it. Which, of course, brings us right up to today, to the next great evolution, where generative AI, like Gemini, isn't just tweaking the rules, it's throwing out the whole rulebook and starting over. Because now the whole process is different. It's not about a list of links anymore. You ask a question and Google's AI just builds a direct answer for you. And here's the most important part. It builds that answer using bits and pieces from sources it already considers trustworthy and expert. Ranking number 1 is useless if the AI doesn't think you're an authority in the first place. So what does this new AI actually want? What is it looking for? Well, it's not keywords. It's not backlinks. It craves proof. It wants real authenticity, real-world data, stuff that can be verified. It wants to see that you've actually done the thing you're talking about, like before and after photos from a roofing company or detailed case studies from a law firm. It's looking for reality. And when you lay it all out like this, you can see the whole 25 years story in one place. There's a clear pattern, right? The winners, they were always the ones who built real trust and had genuine, provable expertise. The losers, the ones who just tried to cheat the system and find the latest loophole. The entire history of search has been this slow, steady march toward rewarding what's real. And that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. If you strip away all the algorithms, all the updates, all the technical jargon, one simple truth is left. Google's goal was never really about ranking websites based on keywords. Its goal, from the very beginning all the way to today with Gemini, was always about one thing: getting a person the best possible answer to their question as fast as humanly possible. Every single change was just another step on that mission. So that leaves us with one last really important question, a question for you. In this new era, where an AI is the gatekeeper, it's not enough to just say you're an expert anymore. You have to be able to prove it with actual, real-world evidence. So the question is, can you?